This is a summary of our report, Hands Off Our Biodata, Mobilising Against Police Use of Biometric Fingerprint and Facial Recognition Technology. This report is part of the Stop the Scandal, a grassroots-led campaign by the Yorkshire Justice Network and Yorkshire Resists to stop the use of technology by police in our communities.
Since the global uprising of Black Lives Matter in March 2020 and the COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen racial, social and economic inequalities being exacerbated. We've protested and grieved the continued state-sanctioned violence against Black and Brown people in police custody in the UK. We have witnessed a sustained attack on civil liberties and human rights via the Police, Crime and Sentencing Bill and the Borders Nationality Bill and the Rwanda Deal. The Conservative government has pushed through plans condemned across society as inhumane. In doing so, this government has laid bare its commitment to forsaking the tenets of sanctuary and justice.
Yet, at a time dominated by narratives of a world standing still, we saw the momentum of direct action. The Black Lives Matter movement urged the UK to come to terms with its own history and reality of police brutality. The toppling of the Edward Colston statue in Bristol and the success of anti-raids networks at Commuir Street, Glasgow and Lewisham, London, reminded us that direct action is not only necessary, but possible. Throughout all this, oppressed and marginalised communities, and those who seek to stand alongside them, have sought to respond to the challenges faced. From Black Lives Matter and the Kill the Bill protests, to the nationwide union strikes and vital acts of community care, at the Racial Justice Network and Yorkshire Resists, we seek to stand alongside those who mobilise against oppression and marginalisation. "11 police forces refused to respond to the FLY under Section 12, Bracket 1, Excess Time and Resources. Only 7 forces provided clear data on arrests, 8 on ethnicity, 2 on gender, 5 on the reason for a scan, and 0 on the location of the stop and scan. Of the data we do have, we know 24 police forces are currently using the Fingerprint mobile app. This means a large number of police forces are using mobile devices to stop and scan people on the streets.
We show there is a clear bias in who is targeted by stop and scan practices. It is alarming that other police forces either did not collect or refused to give ethnicity data. White Europeans consistently have the lowest rate of being stopped and scanned. We don't have disaggregated data. Police officers use categories such as white South European. This is important because we must consider Gypsy, Roma and traveller people who've been continuously criminalised by police. Therefore, whilst we do not have specific data regarding this community, it's extremely likely that they're disproportionately affected by stop and scan.
Based on the information we have, we know that Black people are 4 times more likely to be stopped and scanned than a white person. While Black people represent 3% of the total UK population, they represent 11% of the total scans. Likewise, Asian people are 2 times more likely to be stopped and scanned than a white person. Asian people represent 14% of total scans, yet they only represent 6.9% of the total UK population.
Men are 12 times more likely to be stopped and scanned than those identified by officers as women or unknown. Officers do not collect information regarding trans, non-binary and gender non-conforming people. This means that young Black men are much more likely to be stopped and scanned. Mobile scanning devices are increasingly being used by police forces for immigration enforcement. Potential immigration status alone can be justification for police intervention and law enforcement. This puts migrants, already marginalised by hostile environment policies, in an even more vulnerable position. It's especially pertinent when migrants who have experienced abuse or hate crime are deterred from seeking out help for fear that their data will be shared with immigration enforcement.
The use of mobile devices and software technology by police is now being expanded to the use of facial recognition. This new technology is being used by Southway Police via a pilot known as Operation Initiated Facial Recognition. This allows police officers to take pictures of a person on the street and compare it to the missing person database and/or the criminal database. It is extremely worrisome. This technology has been rolled out after Southway's police lost a court case on facial recognition brought by Liberty. The court determined that police had breached privacy rights and broke equality law.
Why should we be concerned? Racial and sexist bias in facial recognition technology algorithms is widely documented. Algorithmic bias has real consequences. People are being targeted, harassed, arrested, and traumatized. We found the facial recognition mobile app was used 42 times in the ongoing pilot stage on 35 people. This means people are being stopped and scanned multiple times. Of these individuals, 6 were minors between the ages of 10 and 17. How are minors' rights being protected during the stop and scan? Men are much more likely to be scanned. Our findings reflect concerns that this technology is primarily used on the grounds of suspicion and thus subject to misuse and racial profiling.
Our recommendations are: number 1, stop using this technology. The use of mobile fingerprint scanners and facial recognition software should immediately cease. It disproportionately is used on racially minoritized communities and does not help keep our communities safe. It is also an encroachment on our privacy. Number 2, a firewall needs to be implemented so police officers should have no direct link to the immigration database. Mistakes have consistently been found in immigration information, putting people being stopped and scanned in very vulnerable situations. Number 3, migrants deserve data protection. Remove immigration control exemption in Schedule 2, Part 1, Paragraph 4 of the Data Protection Act 2018, which allows data processors to set aside an individual's GDPR data protection rights if fulfilling those rights would prejudice the maintenance of effective immigration control.
Number 4, fund community and grassroots initiatives. Fund community advocates and grassroots organisations who are supporting racially minoritized individuals and migrant communities, particularly if they've been victims of hate crimes or state oppression. Number 5, police forces must implement recommendations from the McPherson report to address institutional racism, as well as the suggestions made in Liberty and Civil Black Sisters Police Super Complaint on data sharing and immigration. The Home Office must apply the recommendations made by the Windrush Lessons Learned Review. Number 6, end hostile environment. End hostile environment policies which disproportionately affect Black and brown migrant communities. These policies exacerbate existing inequalities and enforce material and emotional violence in our communities. Finally, number 7, end, stop and search. Number 7, end, stop and search. Stop and search tactics are disproportionately used on racially minoritized communities, particularly Black young men. These tactics do not keep our communities safe. Rather, they cause irreparable harm to our loved ones.